and that's something that was slipped into the 2012 NDAA. It was the rescinding of the Smith-Mundt Act. And what this has done is open the floodgates for the media to basically lie to us if it's in the best interest of the government. So what we're witnessing here is the deep state aligned with media, and they have a free pass. We're a lot of questionable things happening in this country. We got mass shootings. I'm sorry to say, these things are questionable. And under this law, the rescinding of the Smith-Mundt Act, in reality, the government could be working with media to deceive us, and it's legal. Talk about the rescinding of the Smith-Mundt Act, please.
Dan, we'll let you go there. Dan in Massachusetts. Eleanor Clift, any thoughts on what you heard?
I think that sounds to me like a conspiracy theory that's alive and well. I'm not going to comment on it.
Cheryl Tillman?
I'm not familiar with that particular act, but I will say that back in the 1950s, there was that whole Operation Mockingbird thing, which was never formally confirmed by the CIA, but of course that was the operation where CIA operatives worked with U.S. media to shape the messages that came out of the media, and it was purportedly supposed to have hit at hundreds of journalists and reporters. And that's something that has been reported and used in different terms.
What was the message that they were trying to get across in this?
It varied. It went on for years, and it wasn't just domestic, but it was also to slant and shape how government officials worked with foreign officials as well. But don't take my word for it. Look it up.
Well, we have aspects of the government, the USIA, Voice of America, that transmit American values abroad.
I only bring it up because you say conspiracy theorist as if it's ridiculous, but at the same time,
he was tying mass shootings with the media and government interference to fool the American people.
Right. We're dismissing conspiracy theories as if they're ridiculous, but there are some things that our government has been involved in, including our deep state type government officials that have been recorded in history and proven.
Well, we have another two. Let's get out.
And therefore, that gives credence to what you said.
Let's wrap up with a call or two here.
It doesn't give credence, but it
Eddie in Millbury,
just
Massachusetts.
randomly dismissed.
Let's get one more. Eddie in Millbury. Good morning. Go ahead. Millbury, Massachusetts.
But what people consistently underestimate today is how the nature of mass media has transformed society. 10 people control 90% of everything you see, read, and hear in this country. 10 people. And they want to tell you that Cuba has state-run media. 10 people. Who are those 10 people? Well, you can look them up. They're not hard to find. That, in and of itself, is problematic. When you consider that these 10 people all need permission from the U.S. government in order to have licenses, in order to buy other corporations, in order to do all the nefarious things they like to do, then you really understand what state-run media is. If Martin Luther King were alive today, and he were in his 20s, nobody would know who he was, because he would never get on TV. That's the difference between 2003 and 1953 or 1963. We live in a completely different era where information is more tightly controlled than it has ever been in the history of this country.
I've been seeing a lot of videos absolutely screaming that the media are a bunch of freaking liars. Well, yes, because they're 100% controlled by the government. Let me read you something real quick. Hang on, this is important. Please read both the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948 by Truman and then the amendment to this act, H.R. 5736, in 2012. I did some deep dive yesterday, and guess what? The media can 100% lie to our faces by federal law. Let me explain. So the Smith-Mundt Act in 1948, during World War I, Truman thought it beneficial that any reporter, facilities, radio, anybody reporting on the war on foreign land had to be censored to make sure the American people were being portrayed in a good light, a patriotic light, and it sounded like a good thing to pass at the time, so it was enacted into law. In 1999, the Clinton administration created and oversaw a media distribution group that was ran by the federal government, and the federal government created the Broadcasting Board of Governors under the Clinton Watch, which oversaw all the foreign media distribution to make sure the U.S. was always maintained in a good light throughout other countries. This federally appointed group was changed to an independent government agency in 2018. And the Biden administration now called that group the United States Agency for Global Media. So basically what that states is the following. But here's the kicker. Obama, in 2012, amended with H.R. 5736, amended the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948 to include all media outlets in the U.S. on domestic soil. So what that means is Congress and this new Bureau of Agencies that they've created are controlling our media 100%. They only report on what the government will allow them to say. So the United States Agency for Global Media, which is funded by our federal government, can pay for and alter the news media and radio communications under the federal law within the American people's own backyards and soils. We're not getting real and true news anymore. We're getting exactly what our government wants you to hear. And it was all Democratic in, voted laws.